Ozu, hello, welcome back to Elden Ring. This is part 10 of our full walkthrough of the game. In the last part, we went through all of Deeproot Depths, getting a teleporter to Lanedale, but also a second teleporter to here, Einzel River Main. This is the second way to get here. I showed both ways, but here we are going to talk to the miniature Ranni 3 times to get some dialogue. And after getting that, you can head straight forward. There are some stone enemies. You can mostly ignore them. But here, there's an upside down Astel shooting rocks at you periodically. And there are these little structures, just pieces of ruins that you can hide behind in order to avoid getting pelted by rocks as you make your way closer. Over here, there's a Miranda Blossom. You can pick up a stone sword key by them, but nothing else there is worth it, so you can just grab that and move on. Here, there's just a group of these stone men, so you can take them out so that way you can fight the Astel without getting hit by them. After taking them out, then you can turn this corner to get pretty close to the Astel. It's a bit harder and more tedious if you're on a melee build compared to a ranged build, but you can run over to them, get a few hits in, and then run back on a melee build. But however you do it, once you take them out, you get a guaranteed Somberstone 7, along with a Ghost Glowwort 7 and 6, and then from there, you can move on. Headed down this little cave section. Here, you can go left past a few ants. If you want, there's a side section that way. Or you can go right down this way. This way is the path of progress. But there's also a site of grace very close by. And so if you want to be safe, you can grab that. As there is a skull plate ant on the side path, and they are very dangerous. So you can grab the site of grace for safety, then head up this little ladder and head back towards those ants. Once again, the skull plate ant is very dangerous, so if you can sneak past them, you will have a much easier time. From there, you can head down this little side path. If you didn't kill the Astel in the Einzel River, they will be here and alive. So do take note of that. But here in this chest is the Wing of Astel. This is a curved sword, dexterity and intelligence. And it's kind of unique in the sense that its heavy attacks will fire out these short-range projectiles. It also has a unique and pretty powerful skill. But from there, we can grab that Somber Stone 6, and then teleport back to the Nokstella Eternal City Site of Grace. You can rest, level up if you have the runes to do that, and you can also talk to Ranni for some more dialogue. And from there, if you're doing a sorcery build like me, you may want to throw on Night Comet. Because there are some enemies that will dodge the normal glintstone shards. But from there, the first place we want to head to is this little archway in the distance with these ruins. There are 2 enemies here, but with somewhat decent timing and crouching, you can safely pick up the Smithing Stone 6 and move on. So you can fight them if you want. But from there, you want to generally stick to the right side and keep moving until you see this section with the little pillars and these snail-looking things. Because at the end of this small pathway, you'll find a Smithing Stone 6. From there, you want to head into the little meandering river and look for these silver tier enemies, as this section of the river with those silver tier enemies has the next notable item. There are guys up on an elevated position to the right that will shoot at you, so use the pillars to hide so you don't get shot by them. And take out this Nox enemy that was riding on an ant, as they are protecting the item we're here for. That being your first Ghost Glowwort 8. From there, you can turn around, head back east, and then take this first right up these stairs, where you should spot this one lone Nox enemy by a doorway. Take them out, and then you'll be safe to open this chest. This grants you your first Ghost Glowwort 9, and if you've been following along for this entire run, you should be able to get any one single Ghost Glowwort Spirit Ash, the special ones like Mimic Tear, all the way to plus 10. With that being said, we can head back to the Nokstella site of Grace. Where we can head forward and take this very first staircase. And head up here to where all of these Mimic Tear enemies are. The ones that have electricity around them will explode, and if another enemy is very close by, they can actually die to the electricity discharge. So you can use that to your advantage, but it also makes getting up the stairs a bit slower. With that being said, you can either go straight forward ahead for progress, or you can turn around and head through this little doorway for an item. There are a bunch of these shielded Mimic Tears, where they have just this weird shield on one side. Kind of like the Phalanx enemies from Demon Souls. So they're pretty easy, but they take significantly less damage from one side, and your weapon can bounce off. But if you can kill all of them, then you can safely open up this chest to get the Ghost Glowwort Picker's Bellbearing 2, allowing you to purchase Ghost Glowwort 4, 5, and 6. Now whether you do that, or decide to skip it, you can then head through this little pathway, where there's a Golden Rune 10, and a Somber Stone 7 in this chest. From there, you can head out and up, and to your right there will be this long bridge. Just to run across it, you'll notice this orb boulder thing coming at you. What you want to do is head off to the right and into this building, just making sure that they follow us. But the reason for that is because it can't go through this doorway. So from there you can safely wail on it, just to get a free kill. That gets you a larval tier, and then you can turn around, look up, and just inside is another one of those things. If you go too far into the building, it'll drop down. But heading inside just a little bit, you'll be fine. But taking them out gets you another larval tier, and a great Ghost Glowwort. From there, you can move on, continuing to head up the stairs. At the top of the stairs, you can do a little U-turn to the right, where in one of the side sections, you can get a smithing stone 6, and then you can continue heading forward into this building, where there's another orb boulder thing on the ceiling. So this one doesn't drop down right away. Instead it drops a bunch of enemies. Some are normal mimic tiers, some are the electrified mimic tiers, some have the shield. It's a mix of all of them. But if you focus on the electrified ones, then you can have some of them take out some other ones. There's also this chest that has a Somberstone 7 that you can pick up at any time. But once you take out enough mimic tiers, the orb will drop down. And you can head just outside, and the orb can't get to you. And so that makes for another easy kill. And that gets you another guaranteed larval tier. From there you can head out and up some more stairs. There will be a little scarab somewhat hiding. Taking them out gets you a Somberstone 6. And in this room, there's a Nox enemy with 2 mimic tiers that transform. As long as you don't move too far forward, the Nox enemy will stay back. As for the mimic tiers, one has his Y-hander, the other has a spear and great shield. And if you back up far enough around to the stairs, it kind of breaks the mimic tier's AI, allowing you to have a much easier time fighting them. After you take out all 3 of them, then you are free to pick up this Moon of Nokstella talisman. And there, on the side of the room, there's a doorway, and that leads you down to an elevator. This allows you to get a golden seed, and if you notice those mimic tiers off in the distance just above our head, that's where we got the Ghost Glowwort 8. So you could just run straight forward from there to get to where we are now, but heading straight forward, you can't get the golden seed. So do beware of that. But here, by these ants and the formic rock, you can get yourself a stone sword key. And on the other side, to the left, like on the left side of the river, there's a little building. It's very noticeable with an archway leading up to some stairs and a door. That is the Path of Progress. So you can take this elevator down. Where you will get another set of grace. Another Ghost Glowwort 9. And if you rest at the set of grace, you can get some more Ranni dialogue. From there, you can move forward into this cave. There are a few basilisk enemies, but only 3. And they're not as dangerous in this game as they are in some of the other ones. So once you take them out, you can get a Smithing Stone 4 and 5. Before moving on, where you'll be invaded by the Baleful Shadow. Now, if you leave this room to try to cheese them, they'll have infinite heals, so you have to stick inside of this room to fight them. No cheesing them allowed. Though, they can still be cheesed pretty easily with this attack, where you can dodge forward into them for an easy backstab, and then an easy L2 as they're getting up. From there, you can just back up, and they tend to do it again. It is a very easy cheese method. As you can see, it is very repeatable. You don't really have to worry about it. But if you want to stick at range to use spells, they tend to just slowly walk towards you. And as you can see with Night Comet here, each one stuns them for a fraction of a second, and they don't dodge it. If you're using incantations, the Lightning Spear one works just as well. But after defeating them, you can head through this doorway. And as a reward for beating them, you will get the discarded palace key. Grab this set of grace at the bottom of the elevator. And down near the shoreline, you'll find the map for this Lake of Rot. Now you want to head to the Rhylicaria Grand Library. Where you can use that discarded palace key to get the Dark Moon Ring. From there you can head back to the Lake of Rot shoreline set of grace. And we picked it up way back in the open world of Liurnia. But this is where Flame Cleanse Me sees most of its use. So you want to get a seal of any kind. We've gotten 2 already in this run. You want to equip Flame Cleanse Me. And with the 2 Fingers heirloom, the 12 faith requirement drops down to just 7. So, no matter what, you should have enough faith for this. Now you can go right for progress, or you can go left for items. For the sake of thoroughness, I'm going to be showing both ways, starting off with the left. So way back in this corner, there's a Somber Stone 8. Then you can loosely hug the left wall for a little bit until you see this structure just up ahead. Here you can get a Somber Stone 7, and there's some Basilisk enemies, but you can just ignore them. From there, just keep heading along the left wall, and you'll see a little structure that's almost entirely sunken down. If you head to the right of that, there will be an Ancestral Follower enemy. Killing them guarantees that you get the Immunizing Horn Charm +1. A talisman that increases your resistance to poison and rot. From there, on this structure, there's a golden rune. Then we want to head south, continuing to be pretty close to the left wall. But before too long, you should spot this obelisk. This is a little patch of safe land, and the obelisk specifically has a little button you can press that raises some platforms out of the rot and makes it safe to stand on. Here we are going to deliberately allow ourselves to die because this obelisk has a Stake of Marika, allowing you to respawn right where you died with all of your health and flasks back. So you can pick up your runes, and from there just continue on. Continue heading south, being slightly close to the left wall, and our goal is this slanted structure. As on top of it, there's a Somber Stone 8. Then there's another slanted structure nearby, where you can make a few jumps. And doing so lets you get the mushroom crown on that pillar. From there you can drop down and run straight north, straight forward, where you'll automatically be aiming towards the obelisk again. So you can run back towards the obelisk and just run in circles and wait to die. The purpose of running in circles is to update where your runes end up. That way they end up on the platform instead of in the lake. But with that being said, you can grab your runes, and this boss over here is very optional. So you can skip them if you want, but we are going to be fighting them as they tend to be pretty easy and give good rewards. Just make sure to stay on the platform and make sure to dodge all of their attacks, as they do quite a bit of damage and can knock you into the Lake of Rot. So They're easy, but every mistake is costly. Though with that being said, if you can take them out, you will be rewarded with 58,000 runes and the Dragon Scale Blaidd, a katana with a unique skill that applies ice lightning to your weapon. In the rot, there are a few items, mostly just 2 golden runes, so you can grab them and then teleport to the Lake of Rot Shoreline Set of Grace once more. So that was the left path of items. Now we can go down the right path of progress. So here, you will very quickly see your first obelisk. And as I said before, these just bring up some more platforms. And that allows you to get much closer to the second obelisk. Now, you need to wait for the structures to come out of the lake. And that means that you're just going to be standing there for a second. And that's a very good time to apply Flame Cleanse Me. Or you can do it just at every single platform if you want to play it a bit more safe. But here is our third obelisk. So it doesn't bring a platform we can stand on just yet. We're headed towards that giant doorway with the 2 colossal statues. There is an obelisk here, but do not step on it. We will get back to it soon, just not yet. For now, make it up here. And you can take a left to get to a Site of Grace if you want. But before doing that, we are going to head a bit further where there will be this little structure tucked away in the back corner. Inside of this structure is nothing more than a single chest with a cookbook. This allows you to craft rot pots and rot grease. So you can grab that if you want. If you don't care for it, you could just take the left and head down to the Site of Grace. Rest to get your health, FP, and flask back, and to cure yourself of the Scarlet Rot if you still had it applied, and then head back up, as we are now going to get that final obelisk. The one before this one, the one that we hit last, raised a structure high up into the air, and we couldn't stand on it, but this final one brings up another piece of that structure, allowing us to move across it. Partway across, this stone enemy will show up. So you can fight them. When you take them out, they guarantee drop the Alabaster Lord Sword. Though, more importantly, you can grab this Somber Stone 9. From there, you can head back towards the obelisk, as there's one more thing here. Down this little side path, there's a scarab that you can take out, and that gets you a Somber Stone 6. But there's also some basilisks over there, and they are surrounded by Aeonian butterflies, used to craft the Rot Pots and Rot Grace. So you can run over there and grab some Aeonian butterflies if you want. But from there, we can head back to the Grand Cloister Site of Grace. Where we will hop up here, hop over that small gap, and that allows us to pick up a golden rune before we head back to drop down into that gap. From there we can take another few drops down into this section. There are plenty of Kindred of Rot enemies here. You can go straight forward, or you can turn around and head back. Forward is the way of progress, but this little back section has some goodies. So this is the way we're going to go first. You may want to throw on the Two Fingers heirloom, as there's this little rot section you have to run into. Once you get close enough to those items, a putrid free spirit will show up. So you can fight them. It's better to back up and fight them on a solid platform, so you don't have a Scarlet Rot eating away your health. With that being said, I'll let this fight play itself out. And with their defeat, you are guaranteed to get a golden seed. From there, you can head into this little lake section to get a smithing stone 7 and 6. Then you can head out, pop Flame Cleanse Me, and whatever flasks you need. If you're running low on flasks, you can teleport back up to the Grand Cloister side of Grace and just make your way down. However you do it, we are now going to be doing this side of the Grand Cloister, where there are a bunch of these Kindred of Rot that are worshipping whatever's at the top of those stairs, making it a bit easier for you to sneak up on them and get a critical hit. Here, there's a Ghost Glowvort 9. There's a Smithing Stone 5. And in here, there's a single chest that grants you with the Scorpion Stinger. This is a dagger with Scarlet Rot buildup. Something very rare in the game. From there, you can head back to either the Round Table Hold or the Grand Cloister. So if you've been following along with this run, you should have enough golden seeds to get another flask. Maybe a level up. And if you want, it'll take a bit more time, but it's also going to make a boss fight a little bit easier, is you can go and upgrade your weapons now, as we have picked up some missing stone. So at this point, you should be able to get your weapon plus 19, or plus 20 rather. And at this point, you no longer need Flame Cleanse Me, so you can take that off. So you can do that to be safe if you want, and then head back to the Grand Cloister. Now, when you spawn in here, if you're fast enough, you can actually outpace the two walking Kindred of Rot down here, allowing you to drop down into this little hidey hole before they are able to see you. And then with a little bit of patience, you can let them walk on by, and that allows you to avoid that combat encounter, because there's a boss coming up. And it can be nice to head into a boss with full health. But if you just follow the little river off to the left here, at the end, you will find a coffin that you can rest in. And just like all the other coffins, this teleports you to a different underground section. You may want to throw on Spelldrake Talisman +1 here, as this boss does a lot of magic damage. Heading in, this is a much larger version of the Astels that we've been seeing around the underground areas up to this point. They have some weird hitboxes, but if you try to stay by their face, their head takes far more damage. And all you really have to do up close is avoid those little purple things that explode. And notably that, as those explode on the ground and can be difficult. There's also a grab that does a lot of damage and has a very questionable hitbox. But even if you die, there's a Stake of America, and that puts you right back here. So that skips almost the entirety of the run back, allowing you to get right back into the boss fight. With that being said, I will let this fight play itself out. Once you take them out, you will get 80,000 runes and Remembrance of the Natural Born. From there, on the north side of the arena, there will be a Site of Grace and a little cave opening. If you've got the Dark Moon Ring, as we did, you can head through the cave. Where after a short hallway section, you will find a very large elevator. This brings you from the underground to the above ground, in this little plateau section of Liurnia. Technically speaking, part of Liurnia's open world. However, this is the only way to get there, so it wasn't included in that part. Now this is the Moonlight Alter. There's a set of grace immediately ahead. Don't forget to level up. And from there, you can head straight north. Where you'll find the Moonfolk Ruins. And in here, you'll get a Golden Rune 9, a Rune Arc, and on the far end, there will be an illusory floor. Containing a Somber Stone 8. From there, you can teleport back to the Moonlight Alter set of grace. And you can head straight forwards. Up near this cathedral, you'll find the Glintstone Dragon Adula. If you're running a sorcery build like me, they may seem very intimidating at first, as they are very magic resistant. However, back in part 1 of this run, all the way back in Limgrave, I mentioned that you're going to want to keep a melee weapon on you. Mostly because early on you don't have high FP, or a good amount of flasks, or good FP regeneration from the flasks. But it's also because there's some enemies and bosses that are very magic resistant. And in those few rare cases, you'll find that keeping a sidearm, just some random melee weapon upgraded, will do you absolute wonders. Even if it's something seemingly basic, like the short sword that we started out with as one of our starting weapons. And even if you don't have it as upgraded as your staff, it doesn't matter. Because, yeah, we just no-hit Adula there. 120,000 runes, 3 dragon hearts, and Adula's Moonblade, one of the best sorceries in the game. And that was done with a plus 15 hold short sword with 8 strength, 12 dexterity, and 38 intelligence. And again, very high magic resistance from Adula. And our weapon, kind of middle of the pack when it comes to where it's at in terms of upgrades. But with that being said, you can head into the cathedral. You get a grand total of 11 starlight shards. There's another Sled of Grace here, if you want to grab that. And then there's a little pit in the ground. You can head down there. where after a bit of running, you will find this little scene with a Ranni. This plays a cutscene. This gets you some extra dialogue with Ranni. It gets you the Dark Moon Greatsword, and it allows you to choose Ranni's ending. From there, you can head out and straight forward southeast. Ever so slightly to the right, you'll find the Lunar Estate Ruins. And on the left side, right here on the map, if you want to pin it, you'll find an illusory floor. And inside, you'll find 3 smithing stone 8. From there, you want to head here, all the way down to this structure. You can leave that pin as the structure has a little puzzle for you to do. And if you want to do that puzzle, you're going to have to come back up here. If you don't care about doing the puzzle and getting that reward, then you can go through that pin to make it go away and just ignore the next little bit. Here you can head off to the right if you want to just continue on without caring about the puzzle. Doing it gets you one of the moon sorceries. Here, there's a side of grace. You can level up if you want. And you may want a bow if you're going to do the puzzle. So here, it states, seek 3 great wise beasts. Doing that spawns 3 giant turtles around the Moonlight Alter. You need to hit all 3 without reloading the area. That means no dying, no quitting out, no teleporting. There's the first one, and the second one is up where we put that first pin. I will state that once you get all three, you can teleport, but that's only after getting all three. So you're going to have to run back to the pin, then all the way to the other side of the island. Plateau, altar, whatever you want to call it. It is right here on the map, where you'll find the second Great Wise Beast. You'll need some kind of range to take them out. Then you can head back towards the structure. So, when I pointed out that little path to the side, shortly before it, you can take that. So whether you decide to do that little puzzle or not, you can head this way. Because there's some goodies up here that will be important to grab. Once you make it here, you can take a right where you should see these 3 gazebos protected by a red wolf or red gun. The first has 3 smithing stone 7s. The second has 3 smithing stone 8. And the third has another 3 smithing stone 7s. So if you've been keeping count, the Moonlight Alter has a grand total of 6 smithing stone 7s and 6 smithing stone 8. After getting those, you can continue making your way up, generally north and up in elevation. You should see that giant floating turtle if you're doing the puzzle. Under it, there's this Spirit Spring jump, and you can take the Spirit Spring jump up to hit it. Even if you don't care about doing that puzzle, you can come over here on this top left part of the map, where you can fight the Black Knife Ringleader in order to get Black Knife Tish, a spear dash that is also quite popular. If you want to do the little puzzle, then you should have gotten the pop-up for the seal on the rise opened after hitting the third one. If you got that, you can then teleport to make it back here just a bit faster. If you teleport before getting that pop-up, then you have to take out all 3 again. But at the top of this rise, you will get Ranni's Dark Moon. A powerful sorcery, but there is a different version of it that is basically as strong, but much easier to get. With that being said, you can head up to Ranni's Rise. You can go up the stairs for a secret set of grace with some extra dialogue from Ranni when you sit at it. Or you can simply head down where you'll find Blaidd, having lost his mind. And as you can see here, he will be aggressive. So the final step of this is just to take him out. Though he's not quite as easy as the Baleful Shadow. After you take him out, you can get the Royal Greatsword and Blaidd's armor set. It is missing the headpiece, but you can find that down by Celiba's Rise. The headpiece specifically, you could pick up at any point once you get here. I even pointed it out in the part where we did this, but I didn't pick it up until now because it seemed fitting to pick it up now. But with that being said, that's everything revolving Nokstella. So in this part, we have done Ainzel River Main, Nokstella, the Lake of Rot, and the Moonlight Alter, along with completely finishing Ranni's quest and gaining access to her ending. From here, we can do Altus Plateau, Dragon Barrow, or we can take the Prince of Death teleporter to make it up into Lanedale. Those are all options. So we're going to be doing the open world of Altus Plateau next. Something I forgot to do until I stopped recording, so thankfully remembered it pretty quickly, is you can still head over to EG. Once you give her the Fingerslayer Blade, you get some more dialogue from him, so you could get that at any time. This is a good opportunity to increase your weapon. Where with the Moonlight Alter, you can get it to plus 23. And then you can tell him about Blaidd's death. Now, if you're using a somber weapon instead of a normal weapon, you can get that all the way up to plus 9 out of plus 10. Either way, you can rest here, and EG will be dead, allowing you to pick up his Mirror Helm. With that being said, that's everything. So I hope you found this to be educational. I hope you found it to be entertaining. With that being said, yeah.